She'd gotten more emotional with this pregnancy, and perhaps that had been an excuse to eat a little more than usual. Lila had never had to worry about her weight before, but this baby had her feeling like a whale already. How would she feel 3 months from now? And 3 months after that? Mama turned her attention to Campbell, and Lila cringed. Mama could use Lila as a punching bag, but not Suzanne's daughter. Her mother smiled and extended a hand toward the girl. "You must be Tom's Campbell." Campbell stood and shook her hand. Lila recognized the intimidation in her eyes. "It's nice to officially meet you, Mrs. Adler." "Please, call me Scylla. We're practically family. Though I can't believe Lila's gotten over the whole thing so quickly." She turned her attention to Luke as Campbell's face went pale. Lila caught Campbell's eyes and mouthed the words, "I'm sorry." Mama went on. "Where is your father? He got tied up talking to someone, I'm sure." Lila followed Mama's gaze toward the entrance to the restaurant, where she spotted Daddy talking to the same woman who'd been staring at her earlier. "Who is that?" Lila said. Mama turned back to the table. She pressed her lips together and Lila could see her jaw tensing. "Mama, who is that woman?" Mama sipped her water and shook her head. "I don't know," she said. Lila glanced back at Daddy, who now stood in the entryway of the restaurant alone. When he looked up, he met her eyes and put on a smile, but Lila knew something was wrong. Daddy moved toward the table. As he sat down next to Mama, she stiffened at his touch. Lila glanced at Tom, who sipped his water, careful not to make eye contact with anyone. Was this woman the latest of Daddy's conquests? Lila had long given up the hope that he would change his meandering ways, but how dare he flaunt it in front of them in public? The waitress arrived and presented the menu, a classic Thanksgiving spread that Lila felt certain she could devour in one sitting. She'd refrain, of course, under Mama's watchful eye. They listened, and then Lila spotted the blonde woman back in her seat at the bar. The woman couldn't have been much older than Lila. She might even be younger. Had Daddy really stooped that low? If the woman didn't know he was married with a family and a soon-to-be grandchild, she knew now. Or maybe she'd come to expose the sordid affair. Could she be pregnant with Daddy's child, making the baby Lila's half-sister, and she'd come to claim her fortune? Whatever the reason, the whole idea of it made Lila's stomach turn. "This is such a lovely place," Campbell said. Poor girl. She had no idea what she'd agreed to when she said she'd join them for the afternoon. Mama smiled. "One of our favorite restaurants." She looked over at the woman on the bar stool. The woman's eyebrows rose, then she looked away. Lila's throat went dry, and she took another drink of water. It had always been like this. None of them talking about what was really going on. Pretending they were a perfect family, the epitome of Southern grace. But Lila had looked the other way for too long. Something about being pregnant had made her tired of pretending. She didn't want to bring a child into this kind of environment. "Daddy, who's that lady?" Victor Adler coughed. He wiped his mouth with his napkin and shook his head. "I'm not sure," he said. "She stopped me in the entryway looking for directions." Mama lifted her chin. "To where?" Lila stared at Daddy until he met her eyes. Behind him, she could see the woman walking in their direction, but Lila kept her eyes focused on Daddy. The woman drew nearer. Finally, Daddy said, "Lila, she's no one important. No one you'd know." The woman stopped, and her face fell. "Maybe you should tell her that." Lila glanced up at the woman behind Daddy. As his words registered, the woman's demeanor changed, her eyes searching for understanding at the revelation that, to Victor Adler, she meant nothing. Daddy followed Lila's eyes to the woman's, and then his jaw went slack.